State Warriors.
You do anything for your pet. PetSmart can help. We make it easy to score food, treats, toys, collars, beds, and more. Whether you're on Team Dog, Team Cat, or even Team Reptile, Fish, or Small Pet, you can get what they need at PetSmart quickly and conveniently. Shop 1,600 stores, PetSmart.com, or the PetSmart app, and use Afterpay to shop now, pay later, and 4 interest-free installments. PetSmart. Anything for your pets. Afterpay terms and conditions apply. Visit PetSmart.com for details.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, March 23rd, live at Chase Center in San Francisco. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks, live at Chase Center in San Francisco. Produced by Live Nation.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message Brian left me.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I love the smell of my cat's breath. Yeah.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. Raise a fine glass of wine to your sweetheart and the environment. First, don't get hung up on packaging. Many great wines now come in boxes, which produce half the overall emissions that bottles do. Also, cardboard is just as easily recycled as glass. Finally, look for estate wines, where all grapes are grown on the vineyard and not trucked in from distant locations. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You've been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network.
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope we got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Vincenzo shoveled the pool, takes a deep three, got it! Timeout Lakers. Warriors have tied it at 87, and Jordan Poole goes down and yells at the crowd, says, "Let's go."
Yeah, Jordan Poole trying to make things happen. He had a big start to the fourth quarter as the Warriors wound up tying the game. At that point, Poole would lead the Warriors to an 87-87 tie, but one of the few bright spots for the Warriors in the fourth quarter is they found themselves down by 5, just one bucket over a 3.5-minute stretch. They went scoreless, just one bucket in about a 6.5-minute stretch, and they get outscored 16-7 over the final 6:23 of this one, and the Warriors lose to the Lakers 109-103. We welcome you inside Warriors Wrap Up here on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson with you. The phone lines are open at 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here as the Warriors find themselves once again right back at the 500 mark as they are now 28-28, and the story of this one, it was ugly from the start, really. Back and forth first couple of minutes of this one, and no baskets scored either way. It was rugged, a lot of shots missed both ways, and the tone for the game tonight was really set in the first couple of minutes. It was going to be one that was going to have to be a hard-fought type Warriors win, and we can get into all of the problems that this team had down the stretch, as it really felt an awful lot like the game in Portland on Wednesday, where the Warriors are in the game and they're ahead, middle of the fourth quarter, have a shot to extend or maybe put the Lakers tonight, the Blazers on Wednesday, away with the 96-93 lead, 6:23 to go, and then it's 16-7 Lakers from there. We can get into all of that. and we will. But I still think this was the kind of game where when you go back to the way the Warriors played at the end of December and the beginning of January, they knew without Steph Curry that they had to come out and play extremely hard every single night, no matter who the opponent was, to have a chance to compete and win the games. And whether it's this team being bumped up against the All-Star break or a little bit of a let-up because LeBron James wasn't going to be playing and some of the luster was off the Saturday night ESPN and ABC showcase, whatever it was, this team has just not brought that intensity. And tonight especially, it was just a low-energy intensity type of a game for the Warriors. And the Lakers, I wouldn't say played well with their new pieces by any stretch, but I think their compete level was at a higher level than the Warriors' compete level was. And when the Warriors are not making shots from deep, and the Warriors did not make three-point shots tonight, finishing the game 12 of 44 from three-point range, and the opponent is getting to the free throw line the way that they did tonight, the Lakers 26 free throw attempts, knocked down 21 of them, the Warriors only 11 for 12. They've needed that big-time boost of three-point shots to be able to win a lot of these games. And when those threes have not been going down, this team has not generated offense down the stretch. And so it's becoming a trend, especially in these games that they've lost without Steph Curry. But even when they've had Steph Curry, this team has gone cold down the stretch. They've struggled to find closing lineups that can put the ball in the basket, and the defense as well in this game tonight. Just point of attack, not good. And, Klay Thompson, rough game. Just not enough from Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins. Both ways, I would say, for Klay, offense in particular for Andrew Wiggins. And you look up at the end of the night, and the numbers are really bad. 5 of 21 for Klay Thompson, 3 of 13 from 3. Wiggins, 5 of 13 overall, 12 points for Wiggins, 15 for Klay, just 3 in the second half for Klay Thompson in this game tonight. And very much Portland vibes when you compare the game on Wednesday night and the game tonight. Mentioned that Jordan Poole layup, or the two free throws, rather, that Jordan Poole hit with 6:23 to go. Warriors up 96-93. Ty Jerome would hit a layup at the 5:01 mark. And so from the 6:23 mark until the 1:34, so basically 5 minutes of game action, the Warriors had one bucket, the Ty Jerome layup, and they went 3 minutes and 27 seconds in between the Poole free throws and the Jordan Poole layup, and that was it up until a Dante DiVincenzo 3 at 1:34. At that point, the Warriors are hanging into the game, but then their next and only other basket was the Dante DiVincenzo layup with 17.5 to go. A lot of threes tonight. I thought the Warriors got a little bit three happy, and this team is just not built to attack the rim effectively, and they turn down, I think, opportunities to attack the rim effectively. When you look at Jordan Poole, who was successful in the game at times going to the basket, there was a lot of settling for threes, and that was part of the hot start that Jordan Poole had at the beginning of the fourth quarter that allowed the Warriors to make a run as this game flipped really in the third quarter. Another key part of this game and where the Warriors had this thing get away, you look at third quarter, 34-26. This is a new-look Laker group, but the Lakers had been one of the worst and the worst statistically third-quarter team in the NBA, but they come out and they hit the Warriors without Steph, 34-26 in that third quarter, and that flips the game to where the Warriors have to make the adjustment. They were able to get the lead again middle of the fourth quarter, but just ugly, ugly stuff down the stretch and ugly, ugly stuff from Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins in particular down the stretch. Jordan Poole as well. I mean, you can just lump him in there in the final 6 minutes. You had Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole combined to go 0 for 9. Poole missing a jumper, missed a layup. Poole missed a 3, missed another 2-point jumper. You got Klay Thompson missing threes and really just casting off from 3. And while Poole can look at his numbers at the end of the night overall in the 29 points and say he did his part, It wasn't the most efficient 29 in the game tonight. He didn't get to the free throw line a lot, really stopped attacking at different points, and Wiggins just didn't have it. Another game where Wiggins was out of sync for the Warriors, and they wind up taking a loss and dipping now back to 28-28 on the season. And you look at the Warriors this year, they've been 1-1, 3-3. They've been 10-10, 11-11, 13-13. They were 14-14. They were 18-18. They were 20-20, 21-21, 22-22, 23-23, 24-24. You get the idea. 26-26, and now 28-28, and with an inability to get beyond a couple of games over the 500 mark. And so the Warriors now find themselves with 2 games to go before the break, and we'll hear from Steve Kerr, we'll hear from Draymond Green, but Steve Kerr talking about how this team needs a break, and they're kind of limping a little bit. You got to finish. Like, there's no excuse. You got to finish, and you need every win you could possibly get between now and the All-Star break, and tonight was a winnable game where you're playing the Lakers, who have an infusion of a bunch of new players on their roster. They don't have LeBron James, and you've been basically a 500 team this season without Steph Curry at home. This is a game you got to get, and when you don't get it, you find yourself all the way back in 9th in the Western Conference with a couple of games to go. And, oh, by the way, the Clippers, Suns, Mavs are all improved rosters over what you've got, and it's starting to become more difficult to envision this Warriors team avoiding the play-in tournament at best when you look at this thing with the 28-28 and now, 26 games to go on the season. All right, let's get our top-of-the-hour ID, and then we'll get to some phone calls here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
All right, John Dickinson back with you inside Chase Center, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text as Warriors lose to the Lakers tonight, 109-103. All right, let's get to it. Big Smooth in Oakland gets us tipped off here tonight on Warriors Wrap-Up. What's going on, Big Smooth?
What a terrible, terrible game. My goodness, the Warriors should have had this game. They should have had the Portland game. I'm having a hard time with someone telling me that Wiseman can't play in these games. Because who is he playing worse than? Jordan Poole, who I nicknamed the Enigma, you look on the paper, you say, 29 points. But what you don't see is the turnovers, the layups, just the dribbling for the sake of dribbling. Andrew Wiggins has just forgotten how to shoot. It's very painful to watch these Warriors. And listen, Steph Curry's threes will cover some of these mistakes, but this is clearly a 500 team. If we're fooling ourselves as Warriors fans, if we think they're just going to click a switch in playoff and just run through the tournament, it's not going to happen, man. I think we need to be real about this. And then you got to deal with GP2. Looks like either way, what are you going to look at? Either you bring Wiseman back or you got to hurt guys who that was your big trade move. It's very discouraging. Even when Steph Curry comes back, it's going to take him some ramp-up time. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all.
No, it's not right now. And I think that's the question that everybody has to ask right now. And I've been steadfast in saying this. If the Warriors are going to get on a run, we're going to see it. It's going to happen in the regular season. Like, there is none of this 2 games over, back to 500, a game under, 1 over, back to 500, 2 over, back to 500 again. Like, the Warriors are not going to do that and go 41-41 and be the 8 seed and win a championship. Now, can they win if the Warriors are going to be good enough to make a run, and I think the other things that some of these teams have done in the Western Conference are going to play a role in it as well, but we're going to have to see it at some point from this team as they're currently constituted, adding obviously Steph Curry into the mix if they're going to be good enough. Like, because every night they really are in some way form, or fashion showing us that they don't have it, that this team is just a different team than last year's team. And tonight there was just no juice, I thought, from the beginning. And I've had that thought that I've had so many times when the Warriors have lost this season. And I look at the box score at the end of the game, and they're not making threes. And when they don't make threes, I have a hard time finding things that they do well, to be perfectly honest. And ball movement and passing the basketball. They had 31 assists tonight, but 12 of 44 from three. The defense leaves a lot to be desired with regularity. There's a lack of athleticism and force and rim pressure that this team has. I mean, Curry will take it to the rim. Poole on occasion will take it to the rim. When he's at his best, I think he looks to attack the rim and also create for others as opposed to just taking threes, and he does it in a decisive manner. I mean, Curry is their best player at getting to the rim, and it begs the question. I know a few people kind of kicked it around. Should Jonathan Kuminga have gotten a little bit more run down the stretch of this one? I don't know who shouldn't have been on the floor, because Wiggins is going to be out there, Draymond's going to be out there, Clay's going to be out there regardless. Jordan Poole without Curry is going to be out there regardless. And so the question becomes, do you put Dante DiVincenzo out there or Looney? And I think tonight was another night where the Warriors got bit a little bit when Draymond and Looney were on the floor together, making them an easier team to defend. So what do you do in that particular situation? And the Warriors rolled with DiVincenzo as the fifth in the closing lineup tonight. And I think they needed the ball pressure that he possesses, and I think they wanted the ball movement and the ability to create and pass and make the smart play, the high basketball IQ that DiVincenzo possesses in his game to finish. So I don't think DiVincenzo was great tonight. I don't think Kuminga played all that well tonight in his 13 minutes, but I know that was something that was kind of making the rounds on social media tonight. Kuminga only ends up with the 13 minutes in this one and unable to be a factor. They could have against a Lakers team that does have some added length, maybe given him a little bit more run to try and attack and bring an infusion of what he has in the bag to the table could have been beneficial. But if you're telling me Dante DiVincenzo is going to be in a closing lineup over Jonathan Kuminga in a game where you're playing without Steph Curry, I can't really argue with it either. So I'm not going to go crazy about that at this point in time. But regardless, it's just another game that I think goes in the line of so many games that the Warriors have had, tied with basically 6 minutes to go, and then they just can't do enough offensively or defensively down the stretch to be able to pull out a win. And it adds up to exactly why this team, while they're good for extended stretches of a lot of these games, is still a 500 team and searching and trying to figure out how to get to a point where they can separate from 500. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. Xfinity Mobile text line is open. A lot of people that want to get in on that. But let's get to Tony in Alameda first on the phone lines before we get to some texts. What's going on tonight, Tony?
Yes, hi. Good evening. Thank you for taking my call here. Yes, I watched this game tonight like I usually do the rest of the game. This is like a regular game that we've been watching lately, okay? You take the lead and you lose the lead. Then you have turnovers after turnovers. Then your shooting is poor. Klay Thompson, he was like 25% or a little under tonight. If he only made 3 more, or DiVincenzo made 2 more, we would have won this game. But it's not all about that. And like I said, we had turnovers and big man defense. Davis, he was really taking over under the rim there tonight, even though he wasn't that dominating tonight. I would say we still need someone out there and big down below. Okay, DeMarcus Michael, whatever his name is, he was there. He was doing good, but I need to see more Kuminga. Kuminga, I don't know why he's not playing that much time. Are we saving him for a trade market again? I mean, he was doing good. I think he must have played only 9-10 minutes. We need him more there.
13 minutes. 13 minutes for.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for the call. 13 minutes for Kuminga in the game tonight, and he didn't really play all that well in the game tonight, but he is, I think, going to be the odd man out on a lot of nights here closing down the stretch unless he's just playing exceptionally well, and I think he's going to be the easy target as one of the fan favorites to point to as somebody when things don't work out down the stretch as to why is he not in the game? Why is he not in the game? I think it's a fair question to ask on a night like tonight, but I also think you have to understand that Steve Kerr and the coaching staff is grading whether or not Kuminga is going to be in that closing lineup on a different scale than the things that we see him do on the court, which may be positives. He's looking at defensive assignments. He's looking at how the opposition is going to defend the Warriors with him on the floor, especially in a down the stretch type of a situation where you probably play off of him and dare him to make threes. He was 1 of 3 tonight from 3. I think there are a couple games here and there where he makes some threes and you think, okay, if he can do that relatively consistently, it really opens up his ability to bulldoze down the stretch and attack, which he wants to do. But I think he also has had a lot of games that show that he really isn't capable yet of consistently making those 3-pointers, which would allow him to do it. And he becomes, in some ways, a player that's easy to defend for other teams that have length and have athleticism up and down their roster and in their rotation as well. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up at 95.7 The Game. Let's go ahead and get to Steve Kerr as he met with the media downstairs here in the press conference room at Chase. We'll get his thoughts. It was short and sweet from Coach Kerr tonight as the Lakers beat the Warriors 109-103.
I guess kind of similar to the Portland game where you guys really went quiet down the stretch. What did you see offensively in the last 5 minutes?
Well, they did a good job, playing on top of our shooters and sending everything to Davis in the paint. So they had a good plan, and we never really got a good offensive flow in the game. I thought our guys competed really hard, but we couldn't find that spurt and that momentum where we could string together a good 5 or 6 minutes in the game. So just felt like we were kind of swimming upstream for much of the game, even though neither team had much of a lead. Throughout the game, it was close, but it just never felt like we found our groove.
Guess a little bit more macro, but just where's kind of the frustration level this week? Obviously you have the loss in Portland. We know what's going on with the Gary situation, the loss tonight. Just, where is the frustration level right now?
Yeah, I think our guys are frustrated. We've had so many close losses, and we're right up against the All-Star break. I think our guys, like everybody around the league, they need a break, but they're frustrated that we couldn't close out these last 2 games, and we just haven't been able to to string together enough wins to kind of create a little momentum and some separation in the standings. So our guys are definitely frustrated, but we'll keep going. We got to just keep fighting, keep competing, and we'll see where it all goes.
Steve, Jordan scored the first 17 points in the fourth quarter. How do you see him read the game in that moment as far as, well, we need scoring, it's going to be me, versus now I should be a playmaker? Jordan did a great job bouncing back from what was kind of a slow start. He was frustrated early in the game, but I was really proud of him for the way he bounced back, within the same game and found something there in the second half and in the fourth quarter. So did a great job, and we were almost able to break through during that stretch, but not quite.
Steve, where can your offense get more twos or closer to the basket? Is there places to turn? I know Wiggins was one of them last year.
Yeah, tonight it was tough. I thought Davis really did a good job of clogging everything up in the paint, and that was their plan. You saw they played on top of our shooters, and so they were the paint was packed. There really wasn't much space in there, and we're not a driving team. We're not a team that's built to get to the rim and to draw a lot of fouls. That's why the stats are what they are in terms of our free throw attempts and paint points. And with Steph out, Steph's probably probably our best guy in terms of, getting into the paint and finishing with some contact. So right now you can see, tonight was 26-12 free throws. The other night was 31-9. So it's tough. You've got to make a bunch of threes if you're going to get outscored at the line night after night.
Yeah, you're going to have to make threes to offset it. We've seen the Warriors at times make threes to offset that deal. And tonight was not one of those nights. And you look at it, and the Warriors don't have enough in other areas with Klay Thompson shooting the way he did and Wiggins shooting the way he did. And you just can't overcome it. And I think that's what happened for the Warriors tonight. A couple of text messages to get to. The 240, JD, as much as I love you, brother, you don't ever want to address the real reason this team is a 500-level team. You never want to place the blame on Jordan Poole as my lights go out here inside Chase Center, as happens from time to time. But look, Jordan Poole was not a perfect player tonight. 29 points. They needed his 29 points, and most nights they need his 29 points, especially down the stretch, when you don't have Steph Curry. So Jordan Poole didn't play well. Okay, we know that. Klay Thompson didn't play well. Andrew Wiggins didn't play well. It's on all of them. It's on Klay just as much as it's on Jordan Poole on this particular night. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation, is that it's on all of them. And the question I think you have to ask yourself when it relates back to Jordan Poole is, Jordan Poole still needs to be on the floor at the end of games when you don't have Steph Curry. We can have a conversation about, okay, Steph Curry's playing, maybe Jordan Poole's not in the closing lineup. Like, that makes a lot of sense at that point. But you have to look at it from the standpoint of, you're not ripping him out of the game when you don't have Steph Curry and he's your leading scorer. And I agree with Steve Kerr. He rebounded from a tough start, but down the stretch, you just, he didn't have it. But he's not the reason. In fact, he's been the reason the Warriors have won a lot of these games that they have won without Steph Curry. It's been big game, big game, big game. So you can't only look at the losses that the Warriors take and say, well, he's definitely been part of the problem in the losses, but at the same time, you could put another player out there in his spot, and that player scores 15 or 17 points, and you're screwed. You're not even in a close game with 6 minutes to go. And so I think that's where you have to parse it out and look at it evening out between what you expect to get from a guy like Jordan Poole, who's not a perfect player. There's no doubt he's not a perfect player, and everybody that doesn't play well in certain stretches deserves some of the blame. But if you're a Warrior fan, blame Wiggins tonight, blame Klay Thompson tonight. I feel like, and the text line is flooded with people talking about Poole and turnovers and this and that. Klay Thompson stunk tonight. Klay Thompson was 5 of 21 overall. He was hunting shots. He was taking bad shots. He was casting off. He got blown by for a layup late. He didn't have it tonight. He was bad in this game tonight. Put some of the blame on him. But no, everybody wants to go to Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole is the guy that got paid. And Jordan Poole, as much as he was a part of last year's championship, isn't a part of the core that helped them win 4 championships. And there's this expectation that he's supposed to elevate himself to being a star when Steph Curry is out, so you evaluate him how you would evaluate a star. That's a joke. That's unfair to Jordan Poole. And, to be perfectly honest, I've said this a lot. I never anointed Jordan Poole anything. I thought Jordan Poole was a nice sixth-man type bench player, can fill in for your starters when he's out. I didn't anoint him a future all-star. I didn't anoint him a future superstar. I acknowledge the fact that the Warriors had to pay him because of how well he played last year and the belief that you thought he would get a little bit better over time. But to think that he's just plug and play, has to be Steph Curry down the stretch in a lot of these games, it's foolish. And, there's games where he's come through and he's helped them, and there's been games where he hasn't been able to come through, and it's been a little bit of a different situation. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Lakers beat the Warriors 109-103. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Let's go ahead and hear from Draymond Green while I try to get the lights back on here in the studio inside Chase Center. Draymond Green, always thoughtful, in particular following a loss. He shared his thoughts on this one with the media.
Steve was saying how he senses the way these last couple of games have gone close to All-Star break. There is a sense of frustration not being able to close these out, build some momentum. Where's your pulse on the frustration level?
I think when you're losing games and you're 500, if you're not a 500 level team, it gets frustrating. But no one's going to feel sorry for us. So it is what it is. You got to keep fighting and dig yourself out and find a way.
Are you at liberty to share your thoughts on the GP2 trade situation?
I don't know much. I think you probably know more than me, but I don't read a bunch. I know he's hurt, but that's about to the extent that I know.
Draymond, from your vantage point, what needs to change in order for the team to close out games better and execute better down the stretch?
Well, I think number one, it starts defensively. It was a tie game, and then I think they went up 8, and 5 of the points was off Rui just getting loose balls or someone getting a loose ball and get it to Rui and hit a couple shots. So that's one thing. You know, when you're down guys, you have to get 50-50 balls. You have to make those plays. And, you know, we didn't do a good job of making them.
Draymond, overcoming some of the free throw discrepancies lately, is that a film thing? Is that a practice thing, a mental thing? What's like your take on that?
I think we just have to take on these challenges and, you know, guard. You know, I'd love to come up here and say it's the officiating, but you got to play some defense. And we have struggled defensively at times this year. So just got to defend better.
Draymond, with Steph out indefinitely, the Gary Payton trade kind of in limbo right now until at least tomorrow, being back at 500 for I don't know how many times now this season. Just what would you say the overall like morale or vibe of the team is right now?
My morale is great. Ruben showed me some clips today what I was doing this day last year, and it gave me a lot of perspective. So my morale is great, and it's my duty to make sure that the team morale is great, regardless of where it is or where it could be. I don't think really matters. I think the job is to make sure the morale of the team is great. And so that's my focus.
I guess just a quick follow-up. I know Steve said that the team is obviously frustrated with just how things have gone, but what is the concern or urgency level right now?
I respect what Coach is saying, and, you know, he has his right to say that, but quite frankly, we're all on a roster, and you got to play with the guys you got, and we're all being paid an NBA salary. So you just got to go out there and figure it out. Like I said, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. No one cares if we may feel down about the situation or not. So I just don't think it matters. The guys that are available, you got to go out there and find a way to win. And that's just what we're going to have to do.
Draymond, I'm sorry if you've been asked this before. Jordan picked up his 10th technical. And it reminded me to ask you that you're someone who plays with passion. You're somebody who advocates for himself and his teammates as well. So how does Jordan walk that line of doing all those things, but also making sure that he's interacting with the refs in the right way?
I don't want him to walk the line. I think I've spoke about that before. It's not really one you want to walk. It's a battle you can't win. So, but every man is going to speak for themselves when they feel they need to speak. And I support everybody having their voice if you want to use it. But I mean, quite frankly, the one tonight was like, he's slapping his, I thought he was doing like this, but it is what it is. You got to make sure he don't get to 16.
Have you given him any advice about
don't talk to them?
Cooling it
That's
a little
my
bit?
advice. Don't talk to them. I've told him that. You don't want to get in that battle. You cannot win it. Once you get too deep in, I take it from me. You can't get out. So go the other way. Is what my advice has been, will be moving forward. It is today. It will be tomorrow. It's a battle you can't win. So just go the other way.
You guys still have 2 more games before the break. Steve was saying that you guys, just like everybody else in the league, can definitely kind of use a break right now. Just kind of your thoughts on what that kind of reset would do for you guys.
You get more energy. That's for sure. You know, you come back, you should be rejuvenated. After a week off of playing, you should feel a lot better, but the break ain't just going to magically fix anything, except for you possibly get some guys healthier. You know, you get some guys who can kind of rejuvenate and get their legs back, but it's not correcting any of our issues.
Just to follow up on one thing you said earlier about Jacob Rubin showing you those clips of what you were doing a year ago? I know you were probably rehabbing, but what did those?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to learn to run again. And so I had a Corvio around my waist with Rick pulling it. And me just taking one step after the next, learning to run again. So that's what I was doing a year ago today. And I played basketball today. And I feel absolutely amazing and incredible about it, because last year this day just wasn't so pleasant for me. So now I just got to try to figure out this team and figure out how we can get some wins. But I'm in a position to do that, as opposed to last year I wasn't. So I'm probably feeling a little more grateful than most, just because someone gave me some great perspective.
Yeah, so some terrific perspective there shared by Draymond Green following the Warriors' loss. And, yeah, it's interesting. The Warriors at this point last year were right at their high water mark for the season at 41-13. I think on February the 9th they were 41-13, but Draymond was going out, and the Warriors were about to start dealing with all of the injuries that led them down the path of kind of a clunky close to the season, and wondering if they could get it together once the playoffs had started. But and they were obviously able to do that. But if you recall, the initial reports and everything with respect to Draymond and the injury was, it could be something that potentially could be season ending and pretty serious. And so, yeah, you always, I think, have to be reminded that things could be worse from time to time. And I think in the grand scheme of where the Warriors are at, as far as this team at 28-28 and all of the different times they've been at 500 this season, they still are very much in the race, and they still are very much in the race to avoid the play-in tournament. They're only a game and a half out at the end of the night from the 6 seed. You look up at the 4 seed, and it's 2.5. The 3 seed, it's 3.5. We'll see what happens with Sacramento and with Dallas. They're in overtime right now in Sacramento, with the Kings leading that one 129-126. It's going to get tougher and tougher, though, the longer this team is at 500 to catch some of those teams. Sacramento, who may actually have enough of a cushion, they keep winning close games at a high rate. Looks like they might get another one tonight. And Dallas and Phoenix and the Clippers have all improved. And so it gets tougher. And I think the Warriors are going to look back on this season, and no matter where it ends up, they're going to look back and think of all of these games where 6 minutes to go, it was a 50-50 game, and the Warriors didn't win enough of their share, either with or without Steph Curry. And that is what has really changed this entire season and how everybody has viewed the entire season for the Warriors, and why there's still a lot of work left to be done for this team between now and April the 9th, when the 82-game grind ends. All right, we'll call it a night on that note. Good stuff from everybody in our San Francisco studios, including Sterling Bennett. Thanks to the callers. Thanks to the texters, as the Warriors 2 games to go until the All-Star break, as they now sit back at the 500 mark once again, 28-28. So back with you on Monday. Enjoy the big game tomorrow down in Arizona. Big football game, and we'll be back with Warriors Live at 6 o'clock here for Chase on Monday. The Warriors and the Washington Wizards set to go. Warriors Live again, 6 o'clock there. Couple of games back-to-back, Monday and Tuesday. Warriors and Clippers on Tuesday before the Warriors get to the All-Star break, which they are longing for. That'll do it. We'll talk to you Monday. Lakers beat the Warriors tonight 109-103, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game. Good night.
Toyota's President's Day sales event is on now. And when you're staring down a 3-day weekend in California, look no further than Toyota. Right now, get low 3.99% APR financing on 2023 Tacoma. Or check out the 2023 Tundra and the all-new Sequoia. From snowy slopes to sandy coasts and everything in between. This President's Day, Toyota lets you do it all. Toyota, let's go places. Offer available through TFS to buyers with premium rated credit. Excludes TRD Pro. Ends 2/28/23.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
Nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
And some Frank's Red Hot.
Nah.
You're just gonna eat these boring nachos with no flavor. Frank it up! Frank it up! This guy finally gets it.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
Other banks go out of their way to make redeeming credit card rewards needlessly complicated. But Discover isn't like that. With Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil